Hello, welcome to another episode of Feral Swim Tech here on Team Zoot. This is the show where I take people's strokes that they have sent in to me and I break it down and try and help you swim faster. This week's video is from a swimmer named Chep, and she would like me to review her stroke. And the way I do this is normally I do kind of like a lightning round, so to speak, where I view the video and then I just kind of start throwing out some items. I've already viewed this video a couple times, so I have a good idea of what I want to talk about. So I just kind of want to give a general overview and a general description of what I see with her stroke, and then we'll kind of break down a couple items that I believe we need to work on. So here we go. We're going to start this video, and here we go. So first off, thing I'd like to see is the stroke is continuous, and it looks like the right arm, the right side, and the left side are doing the same thing. One thing I really like is there is a good shoulder roll going on with each stroke. There's a good amount of shoulder rotation. I don't really see it transferring down into the hips, though. The hips the kick seems to be straight up and down. There's no real rotation in the hips. Kick is a little bit low for the most part. The one thing I really like is how her arms come straight out of the water when they come back. We need to talk about the front catch, though. That's probably one of the biggest impediments of Chep moving forward, and I do apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. Okay. So one thing definitely right off the bat, it's a good idea to learn how to push off streamline underwater. Now, obviously, for us as triathletes, we don't really push off walls in the pool a lot. Most of the time, we're just in open water. However, learning how to do a proper streamline really, really helps, number one, with being at ease in the water. Being able to be fully submerged underwater and knowing the trajectory that your body is doing gives you a lot of mental awareness that just simply swimming on top of the water will never do. Obviously, when you're in open water, the only time you're really going to use a streamline is, number one, your first dive in after you jump in. Number two, the next time you're going to use your underwater streamline is if you actually have to go under a wave. So those are the only two times realistic. And if you're doing a reverse triathlon in a pool, which, I mean, that's kind of the exception rather than the rule. Most of the time, your streamline will only be used right at the start when you dive in the water first, or if you have a second lap of a race and you got to dive back in the water. But in training, learning a proper streamline is really good. It's just being able to push under the water. I like to do hand over hand. I like to bring my thumb over and then reach straight up to the sky. This will help a lot with body alignment during swimming and also just getting a better push off the wall. I understand there's a lot of people that would talk and say, well, when you're streamlining, you're kind of cheating yourself on yardage, blah, blah, blah. This is a feeling thing, and this is a comfort thing. I guarantee you, you're able to push off the wall and you just sail under the water. It's honestly the coolest thing ever. I'm not going to lie. But okay, so that's enough about streamline. The number one, so another minor item I want to talk about is body positioning. So look at Shep. Notice her feet get up to the surface just a little bit, but right now they're usually pretty much underneath the water. So what you can see is, let's pause it right here. You see her foot is completely underwater. It's not breaking the surface here. And her body positioning starts up here, and then it slopes down and comes back. The reason for this is you're curving your lower back. Her head position is pretty good, but I believe the problem is she's lifting her neck up in order to get that head positioning on the water. Now, realistically, right there, the water line is at her cap line. That's good. That is the right position. However, I believe that her neck is coming back in order to get that body positioning, in order to get that head positioning. So then what that does is when you bring your neck back, this will dip your shoulders, dip your upper back, dip your lower back. So then this creates the seesaw effect, and the whole rest of your body is more underwater. Here, let me hold on one. Let me get I had the wrong window up. Okay, so let me get this crop out of here. Okay, so let me stand up and kind of show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so what happens is you're standing like this, okay? So my head is straight, okay? Water level is right here, okay? Making sure you can still hear me. Water level is right here. So then what happens is, what we want to do is we actually want to bring the chin out rather than lift the neck, okay? So let's imagine water level's right here. I'm trying to look. So this is straight up. This is straight up. Oh, you can't see that. Let's try this. Okay. So this is straight up, okay? So I'm trying to sight about 30 degrees, okay? So I can so this is wrong. This is looking straight down at the bottom of the pool, okay? This is what Chep is doing, okay? This is what should be happening. This as opposed to, okay? See how my head's forward? My shoulders are slightly forward. Instead of this, my neck is back. So that's going to bring the body out of alignment. And I know it's really hard to do when it's vertical. So it's the difference between this and this. Okay? That's what appears to be happening. Now, from this angle, it's a little tough to get it. But I believe that her neck is a little back here. And then with her neck back here, everything starts to push forward. And then the body positioning comes down. So in order to counteract this, bring your chin out. Bring your chin out. Put that waterline right there. Bring that chin out just a little bit. Try and keep that neck a little bit down instead of up. Okay? Down instead of up. So just nice and low here, as opposed to up. Because when this comes up, everything gets pushed downward. And that's mainly because of the seesaw effect. So, but like I said, this is more of a minor item. The major thing that I would do, Shep, in order to fix your stroke and get some more speed, power into your stroke, what needs to happen is you need to fix your entry angle with your stroke. What I want to do is I want to... Oops, hold up. Okay, see right here? Your hand is facing down, okay? Here, let me do this. Let me speed slower. Slower. Okay, so this is reduced by a third. Okay. Oh, yuck, that's disgusting. There you go, that's better. Okay, so it comes up. Okay, you see that hand dips straight down. That right arm dips straight down, and it comes straight in front of you. Okay, it comes out, and then straight down. Up, and then down. Up, and then down. Okay? So, let's back up just a hair. I want to show you the entry point. Get back here. Maybe. There you go. Right here. Okay, see that elbow bend right there? So that's about here. Okay? That is where your arm is entering, about right here. Then what happens is you shove down and then you start to pull. Now, this is doing two things, and trust me, this is very common. This is very, very, very common. Now, you're going to get some coaches some triathlon coaches that will tell you, well, you want to get your hand down in the water so you avoid the current or the chop. That's situational. Very, very situational. If you're swimming in a pool or you're swimming in a flat lake with virtually zero current, this is not what you want to do. And here's why. You got a couple of things going on at the same time. So, no, don't do that. That one. There you go. All right, so here's what we got going on. So when I put my hand in here, let's get to here. Okay, so my hand goes into here, and then it keeps going downward. Okay, so you're extending your shoulder downward into the water, and you're pulling very, very, very deep. I do see a bit of an elbow bend. I see here. Let me show you this right here. I possibly see an elbow bend, so the elbow might be coming under the body, but from this angle, it's inconclusive. I simply cannot tell. But typically what happens is, so you get in, your hand comes in right here, and then you push down, and then you pull downwards, okay? Number one, using very, very weak shoulder muscles. When you pull with a straight arm, you pull and you use these muscles right up here, okay? You don't really engage your bicep. You kind of engage your tricep, but mostly you're pulling from your shoulders, not very strong at all. So, number two, when we come in here, we're missing from here, because this is where we want to be. We want to be able to come over the water and lay here and then grab the water through here, okay? So I'll show you with my right arm. So my right arm is supposed to come over, grab, lay down, so it comes up and over here, grabs the water, pushes it backwards, okay? So we're coming up and over to almost straight in front of you, and then you grab that water, push it backwards, forward, grab the water, forward, grab the water, push it forward, grab the water, push it backwards. Okay? What Chep is doing is she's coming straight down here and then back. Straight down here, and then back. So you're missing from here to here every single stroke. That is a massive distance per stroke loss. Now, kind of circling back around to the idea of there are times when you do want to slice into the water. However, you want to try and extend forward into there, not down. Okay? But like I said, that is very situational. And quite frankly, this is the stroke technique you should have used if you went to Ironman Florida yesterday. I actually had a good friend of mine that did it. A friend that I swam with at BYU. She did her first full Ironman down there. Yeah, she said that swim was horrendous, even being an ex-swimmer. So I heard there was about 400 people who did not finish. My gosh. Yeah. Choppy water is no joke. Choppy water is no joke. I almost drowned surfing 7-foot wave or surfing about 10-foot waves when they hit at Huntington one year. The ocean is no joke. You do not mess with the ocean. So, all right. So now what to do? Okay? So we need to be able to extend out and then grab that water and push it backwards. We want to avoid placing our hand right here, pushing it down. So first thing we need to do is we need to be able to get our hand fully extended over the water before we push down. How do we do that? Okay. Number one, pull. Pulling. Focus on pulling. You use a pull buoy, lift your butt up. Honestly, if that doesn't work, use the floaty pants. This is the only time I recommend you use floaty pants. You can use floaty pants to get that to get your lower end up. My apologies. Use floaty pants to get your bottom half up a little bit better. Use pull buoys, and if all else fails, slap a kickboard to your chest and then just pull on a kickboard. because all you're doing right now is you are focusing on getting that hand over the water and then grabbing and pushing underneath the water, because we want to reach out to get as much distance per stroke as possible. So how do we work on this on dry land? We do this by doing Tai Chi. Okay, now I'm going to flip the camera up. So you see my hand is straight up, okay? This is where we want to be before we push down, okay? So what you should do is you should just stand with your hand up, because this is the position your body is in laying flat on the water. It is the same position. This probably is the #1 best kept secret from all triathletes. No, I want to keep that up there even though it's screwing up with my light balance. Too many triathletes do not understand what direction is up and what direction is down. So let's look at, oh my gosh, Chep, my apologies. Let's look at Chep. Chep is thinking right here is where her up is. So she puts her hand in the water right here. Now you're on the bottom of the pool. You are looking up at me. She is putting her hand about here, and she is pushing towards the camera and then pulling down. So what we want to do is we want to get our hand up here, rotate that shoulder, get that hand up straight, grab that water, push it down. So you see this shoulder is forward. Maybe. This shoulder is forward, this shoulder is back. My left shoulder is forward, my right shoulder is back. So you grab that water, push it down, and then as that hand is coming down, this hand is behind you, skimming the water surface right here, and it's going up, okay? Get that hand behind you until it reaches up. And then you're going to push down, and then as you're pushing down, in theory, your hand down and your hand up should be about equidistant, just about equidistant, plus minus. So you come up here, and then you push right here, okay? So get used to your hands being here, okay? This is another reason why I like to teach streamlining, because this is where your hands want to be when they when they enter the water after the recovery phase. 2 phases of pull of each stroke. The pull phase and the recovery. The recovery gets your hand back into the position ready to pull. So Shep, what I recommend is doing fingertip drag. This is the easiest drill to really focus on distance per stroke. But I want to modify fingertip drag. I really want you to do this with a pull buoy. Do this only pulling, and get a snorkel if you got it. Okay, get one of those snorkels that goes straight up the face. This is going to be the easiest way to hyper focus on just getting that hand across the water. You can get a good snorkel for about $25-30. They're wonderful. I personally recommend wearing nose plugs with them. I've noticed nose plugs have gotten stupidly expensive on Amazon. I have no freaking idea why. Normally nose plugs are like $2 to $3, but like now they're like, some are like $20. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on with this supply chain crap. But yeah, if you have the ability, please buy some nose plugs. That is one thing I need to do in the off season. I need to learn how to pull with a snorkel without using nose plugs, because I got to get over this nose plug thing somehow. But yes, so what you want to do is you want to skim your fingertips across the water all the way forward, and then grab and then push back. Skim forward, grab, push back. Okay? Here's the second reason why I very much so recommend that you learn how to pull with your arms recovering fully over the water. Let's tilt that camera down again. What winds up happening is you create a massive amount of drag each time you push your arm forward. You're moving forward, and your hand is extended downward, okay? Remember, water always presents a resisting force. We're going to get nerdy and sciencey right now. I do apologize. Trigger warning, have your kids leave the room. So, we want to avoid introducing drag to our situation whenever possible. And what happens is when your hand goes down into the water, water is pushing against your body. Okay? Water is pushing against our body. That's why we want to be as elevated as possible. That's why wetsuits make you more hydrodynamic, because you are elevating your entire body position thanks to the extra buoyancy of the neoprene. So what winds up happening when we put our hands down like this and we're still moving forward, the water is pushing against us the entire time. The entire time our hand is underwater pushing forward, that is moving us backwards. Remember, the overarching idea of swimming is pushing water in the opposite direction that we want to go. We do not want to push water forward. In other words, we do not want to push water up. Okay? We don't want to push water up towards the other end of the pool. We only want to put our hand in, grab that water, push back. That's all we want to do. We do not want to reach in and dive our hands gracefully and grandfully forward and forward, because we're pushing water forward and that's pushing us backwards each and every time. We don't want to do this. So the main reason why I very much so teach, we want to get that hand over the water and grab that water whenever possible. Like I said, putting your hand in a little bit early and pushing it into the water, it's situational. That is very situational. You should not train this way. This is a good thing. This is a good exercise to do. Like, for instance, you got an ocean swim coming up. You're going to be out in the ocean. You're going to be hitting with chop, whatever the seas are going to throw at you. It would be a good idea, or you're going to be at a large lake and it's going to be choppy. You know the conditions can become choppy. That is when to use this kind of a stroke. But typically, if you have flat conditions, this will hurt you. This will not help you. This will help in very situational cases. Do not train this way. At least work towards not training this way. Okay. So let's just recap this whole section. So recapping this whole section, number one, we want to reach across over the water as much as possible before we set our hand in order to grab that water and push it backwards. Yeah, I know this is an elevated pool, but I only got so much vertical space on my camera. That's how we want to do that. Number two, what we want to laser focus on is getting distance per stroke. We want to grab forward as much as possible and take as much of that water and push it all behind us. That is how we generate speed in this discipline of the triathlon. Okay, so let's get on to the next item, which is kind of the second half of this first item, because honestly, I'm looking at the kick. The kick looks fine. Realistically, kicks in triathlon, it's more about stability. Some of the best swimmers in the world, like Katie Ledecky, for instance, who's the all-star, holds every record except that little Australian girl that beat her, and her coach was so happy. That made me giggle. That was one of the best. That Australian coach's celebration dance was one of the most epic celebration dances I have ever seen. And you know what? Coach, you deserve that. Your swimmer beat Katie Ledecky, and you are allowed to do whatever giddy dance you want to do, dang it. You dance, and you know it. So, but here's the thing. Kicking in triathlon, it's more about stability. If you just don't let your kick become a hindrance. I personally teach a 4-beat kick because that's what I use, and it makes me, like, the way I kick hardly uses a lot of your legs. It uses a fair amount of your hips, a lot more. But it doesn't expend a lot of energy. And I don't put a lot of energy into the kick because I know that's not my main driver. The main driver are my arms, and I make sure my arms are in the right position in order to pull the most water. The kick is there as an aid and also to help with rotational stability. Rotating helps you generate more power, which is what we're going to get into right now. I don't believe Chep is generating as much power as she can. Now, I alluded to this earlier with the fact that right here, so she goes down. That one's hard to do. Angle's not good. Lovely belly band. So you see how deep her hand is going? So then it then comes straight up and then pushes straight behind. Okay, so I'm trying to track her right hand right now. So she goes down. Glitching out on me. Sorry about that. What happens when you knock it down to 30% sometimes. It's hard to see there. Let's see if I can come back. Oh, wait, no. Let's see if we can go back to here. So then down. Oh, it's hard at this angle. Okay. So I'm seeing a couple things here. Number one, and let me get this crop here. So number one, what I'm seeing here is she's coming down and then she's coming up. All right. That's what I'm seeing from this angle. Like I say, if you want to send me anything, email me at this email address or DM me on Facebook. I am more than happy to review your footage. This will be my shameless plug. I do these swim reviews mainly for pocket money. I do not do this as a job. I almost lost my bike coming back from my half Ironman yesterday, and it kind of scratched up my top tube, which made me a sad panda. But I am now saving money to buy myself a better bike trailer. So while I do this for free, I do ask for donations. If you are willing to donate, please send me an email. I will send you a Venmo link. So then you can pay if you desire. Like I said, I provide this as a free service, and this is a pay what you want. Like I said, this pays for my triathlon stuff and buys my kids milkshakes. You know, thank goodness for dollar milkshakes from Del Taco. Those things are amazing. They're wonderful with children. They are. So anyway, so if you want me to review your swim stroke, and trust me, right now in the off season, this is the date of making this video is the 7th of November. And now is the absolute 100% best time to work on your stroke technique. You know, work on your stroke technique until the end of the year, and then come January, hit the yardage again. I guarantee you will be faster if you hyper focus in on the techniques that you need to work on. You will become a much faster swimmer. I guarantee it. Okay, so shoot me an email if you want me to review your stroke. That's it for my shameless plug. Back to the show. So with what's happening with Chep is two things. I'm sorry, I need this again. So when you kind of elevate and do kind of ups and downs with your pull, you are sending water in the wrong direction. Remember, we just discussed this idea that we want to take water in front of us and we want to push it behind us as much as possible. You have to understand that this isn't like a bike, okay? It kind of is like a bike, but okay. Imagine if you had the ability to shove your bike in whatever direction you push. Okay, this isn't going to work. See, here's the problem. I come up with these ideas. I'm like, yeah, it's totally. And then you get mid-sentence, you're like, abort. This is not a good analogy. No, stop. Okay. Vectors. Let's talk vectors here, okay? Vectors is a component of physics that has direction and magnitude, okay? So when we want to move as much water behind us as possible, okay? Now, if I push water up, the resultant force is going to make me go downwards. If I push down, that's going to make me come up, okay? If I push forward, I go backwards. If I push backwards, I go forwards. So what we want to do is we want to channel as much water as possible in a linear fashion. Now, when I was younger, we used to teach the S pull. You come out, in, and then back out again. There was an S pull that we used to do. That was because we thought back then that was how we were going to grab better water continuously throughout the entirety of the pull. They've done a lot of research and they have figured out almost definitively the best way to pull is grabbing water and pushing it back in nearly a straight line. Grabbing something and pushing it straight down in terms of if we're standing up, we're going to reach up, grab something, and then push it straight down. Why do we want to do this? Because this gives us the maximum amount of vectored velocity pushing us forward. We want to avoid pushing outside because if you push out, it's going to move us to the left. If you push out with your left arm, you're going to move to the right. We move in the opposite direction we push while in water. We actually do the same thing on land too. It's just a lot easier to compensate and make sure that you're continuously moving forward. In water, what we tend to do is we tend to just lose speed. We tend to not have speed because what you have to envision is your hands and your arms are like tires, okay? You want to make sure that you are gripping the water as much as possible. Now you're probably thinking, how do you grip water? How do you grip water? Okay, well, you grip water by grabbing it. I don't want to smack my microphone too much. But you grab that water and you push, okay? We do not want to try and grab water like this. I'm not petting my microphone. I'm making a point. This is grabbing the water. This is not grabbing the water, okay? When you grab that water, you're going to reach your hand forward. My first motion that I do is scoop. So my hand's out here, scoop, to where your hand is perpendicular. Here we go. So you're out here, scoop. Your hand is now perpendicular to the face of the water. So you scoop, and then you get that hand down, and then you push backwards. Here, let me grab this arm. Then push backwards in as straight of a line as possible. Okay? Now, how do we try to work on this on land? Once again, we're going to Tai Chi it. So you got your hand here. Going to grab that water, get that fingers towards you, and then push straight down. Okay? So you see here, I am pushing straight down. In order to do this, this elbow must bend outwards here. Okay? So I am reaching straight above right now. Not here. This is not straight. We do not pull like this. This is cross-body pulling. This is bad. This is uses extremely weak muscles. We want to reach up here. Right hand, always on the right. Actually, we're probably about right here, okay? So we're going to reach up, grab that water, push straight down. Next hand up. Grab here, push straight down. You see how it is not crossing the plane of my nose. We want to be somewhere out here, okay? This elbow is out here. This hand is towards the inside. My elbow comes out as my hand pushes down. See, my elbow comes out here. So in order to start, just come up, come to here, okay? You could even touch your nose if you want to. This will get you about where you want to be, okay? Reach up, push down. Reach up, push down. Now, if you want to throw in a little bit of resistance to this, this is where having stretch cords may actually be very effective. Where you can hook it on top and just work on this. Get a little bit of resistance. You can also get a decent amount of resistance just by flexing your biceps and your triceps, okay? Another way that you can do this, in order to start working on the pull, so remember, when you're swimming, you're going to be essentially reaching straight forward here, okay? Right here, right there, right there, right there, okay? So this is how I recover, okay? Now, what you want to practice is getting your fingers straight. Boom. Right there. Okay. Straight forward. Elbow bends out. Touch your belly button. Okay? So you see that? My elbow bends out. My hand is straight. Come back. Boom. Come to here. Okay? Because what will happen is when you're actually swimming, when you come to about here, you're going to continue that hand straight through. It's hard to do that when you're sitting up, but this is the beginning. This puts your hands in the right position. Straight forward, belly button. My belly button is right there. So my hand is just about here. You want about 100. So this is 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees right here. This is 90-degree elbow bend. About 110 is where you want to be. But when you're really starting to work on this, you want a consistent point to go to. Because one thing I like about Chep's stroke is it's very consistent. Each arm is doing the same thing each time, which is great. Consistency is amazing. It is very hard for some swimmers to be very consistent with both arms. But we got to get this arm coming to here, this arm coming to here, okay? Scoop, 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 okay? Here's another thing. When you recover, don't let your hand recover out here where your palm is facing outside, because then that is going to make you want to pull outside. Try and recover with your hand towards the inside, because then, you see, I'm right here, my elbow bends, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready. I'm going to hit my microphone here, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. But when I'm out here, you either have to rotate that hand and then pull, or pull while rotating, and then that just gets everything funky. So if you recover with your hand towards the inside, bend that elbow outward, and then push back, and then push back, and then push back, okay? So I think with both of those things, you're going to get more acceleration out of your stroke. And make sure, one last thing we're going to talk about is the treadmill effect. Make sure you're not doing what I like to call the treadmill effect. This is kind of the idea where you're not really putting any energy into the system. You're just kind of keeping the treadmill going, so to speak. And I know this is kind of a weird idea, but hear me out on this. It's a muscle engagement issue where you kind of think you're engaging your muscles, but you're only engaging your muscles at a certain point of the stroke. What you have to imagine is something I've been learning with cycling. I mean, trust me, cycling by far is my weakest leg of the three. My run leg is not much better, but my cycle leg is not that good. So something I've been trying to learn is how to do a steady state of pedaling, where my legs are continuously applying pressure to the pedals, no matter what part of the pedal stroke it's on. With the pull underwater, you need to be applying pressure to the entirety of the pull. You do not want to go and boop. You don't want to be like, okay. All right, did you see that? So you kind of go like pop. You don't want to pop the end of your stroke. You don't want to go all right. And that. Okay? You need a nice and pull and pull and pull and pull. You got to get constant pressure on those arms the entire time. Your arm pulls up till about halfway up your bicep. From here up, you don't really pull much, but your hand all the way to your bicep, that whole arm is pulling. So you need to apply pressure right here in your biceps and your triceps, and you want to apply some pressure in your forearms. You don't want to squeeze everything too much. That's just going to sap all your energy, and that's not cool. But you got to get a little bit of pressure just to make sure everything is nice and firm. That ensures you're getting a nice power transfer from your pull into the water, which is going to propel you forward. So that's kind of the final item for tonight. So overall, Chep, there's a lot of good things that you're doing with your stroke. I really like the fact that, oh, you know what? Hold up. Let me get back. Speed, normal speed. And let's get back to the beginning. So And so overall, I like what I see here. There's a lot of good things that you're doing right. Your breathing pattern is good. I like the fact that you're breathing 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you're breathing every 4, which is a great breathing pattern. Very, very good. I like the fact that your stroke is very consistent, very fluid. There are very, very, very... Actually, there's like no dead spots in your stroke, which is really good. Very, very good. I just think if we get you more reach and pulling with a better pull path trajectory and applying pressure to the entirety of the pull, that's going to get you up to the next level. The head thing at the beginning, it's a good idea to do, but I would focus more on your arm pull and being able to get more distance per stroke out of each pull. So if you have any questions about anything that I've gone over, feel free to email me or continue to DM me on Facebook. I am here to help you get faster. That's what I like to do in my spare time. So once again, I hope that you continue to train to get faster. Anyone who's watching this video, if you like what you saw, please let me know. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, that's it. So anyway, thank you all so much for tuning into Feral Swim Tech. My name is the Feral, and until later, my friends, good night, Isaiah Norris, wherever you are. I am going to take lovely 2 weeks off. So I just did a half Ironman yesterday. I'm taking 2 weeks off. So anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Goodbye, everyone.